I think my sister is dating her soccer coach. Hi. My sister is 18. I am 4 years younger. She plays soccer. She's really good. She's been on magazines and traveled all around the world to play. Ever since she was like 13 she had a soccer coach Sam. Sam played soccer until he got injured and had to stop. He's 32. He goes with her everywhere. My parents got him to help Jess with soccer and to help her network and try to meet the right people and stuff like that since my parents don't know anything about soccer, they're DRS. Sam is really good looking and I know my sister has had a thing for him for a while. But now he's actually starting to encourage it. I walked in the locker room the other day and she was sitting on his lap. He always has his hand somewhere on her, IDK just weird stuff like that. It doesn't seem okay but I don't know, my sister said it's fine. Sitting on his lap? That's unprofessional of him as a coach. You should inform your parents. They could have dated since before she is 18. It's not okay. Talk to your parents as discreetly as possible. Girls and women's soccer is rife with grooming, abuse, and inappropriate sexual behavior. I don't know if you've read about the recent NWSL scandal, but I've heard interviews with several female athletes who suggest that this behavior is normalized in youth soccer. Glad to hear that you're going to tell your parents. Your sister is probably a victim, whether she sees herself that way or not. Edit. Link. Are people not realizing this is the plot of Bend It Like Beckham? Even retained the name Jess as the main character. Found out my wife wants to divorce me, but doesn't know I know. My wife, 25 female, and I, 27 male, have shared each other's phone passwords for several years now. One day I get a terrible feeling that she's been hiding something, so I go through her messages and find a conversation between her and a mutual friend of ours. My wife basically said that she might be joining the Single Parents Club in 18 years or less, and later talks about having a plan to leave but doesn't know how to go about it. I want to bring this up and I've tried to talk to her about if she wants to work out relationship or just leave. She's told me she wants to work it out, but with how recent the messages are, I don't see her wanting to work things out. How can I go about bringing this up? Should I tell her I went through her messages? Should I not tell her? For context, we have a 2-year-old. She works second shift, I work first. Man, you've given zero detail about your actual relationship. How the fuck should we know what the deal is? So rather than repeat the same old, Reddit, leave her advice, I want to ask something different. Tell me about your relationship. Why do you think she wants to leave? What do you both think is possible to get this thing back on track? Make your own exit plan before you talk to her. Don't make emotional decisions. Protect yourself. This sounds like an angry vent more than an actual threat. You guys are both working full-time and raising a toddler. Life is hard. Why don't you talk to her first? Ask her if she's okay? Are you both pulling equal weight at home if you're both working equal hours? Try communication before you call in the lawyers. It might just be venting and impulsive. Pregnant and partner is not trying to find a better job, very aggravating. Need advice. I am newly pregnant, I work 2 jobs from early morning to 11 p.m. I used to do this when I wasn't pregnant. Now that I am pregnant I am still working a lot of hours on my feet the entire time. I have been getting aggravated over little things and this has been causing fights. I tell him I am just tired and hurting. I can't work these double shifts, 2 jobs. I feel it's impossible because I am so nauseous and tired, but I am pushing through, but I feel I am hurting myself and the baby. My boyfriend doesn't seem to be looking for a better job. He works a job part-time, $15 an hour, while I am making the most money and most hours. I feel this isn't fair. He tells me he is trying but I see no difference. He's using my money to Uber himself to work because he is broke. How do I tell him again? You really shouldn't be having a child with a guy you been with for 3 months and already live together with, and more important a guy that 5 months in the relationship already abused you by pushing you to the floor, causing you to bleed. How do you think he'll treat the child if he abuses you? Edit because I wrote flower instead of floor, haha. Sounds like you need to be unpregnant before it's too late. Can't even take care of yourselves without working your life away and wanna bringing a baby to be broke right there with you? Be so serious right now. You both have been together just for 3 months, you both are broke, you don't have health insurance and you still want to bring a baby in this uncertain environment. You two shouldn't be having kids. Wife of 6 years cheated on me. I recently found out that my wife cheated on me with my best friend. This happened 6 years ago, right before we got married. How this all was brought to light was my best friend's ex found messages in his phone that were incriminating. She recently reached out to me and sent me everything she found. At first they, wife and best friend, denied anything happened, and this was just the act of a jealous ex-lover. Eventually, after confronting my wife, she admitted that they did have sex, but it was only one time before we married. I brought up the texts that were sent to me recently and she said they were only joking in those texts. I'm having trouble as we have 3 kids and one on the way in a few months. I don't believe this whole one-time thing BS. The texts seem to point that they were dating for 4 or 5 years. How I didn't see it? WTF knows unamused. Probably the biggest gut punch ever. I am worried about getting a divorce that I won't have my kids living with me. They are my world and I want to live with them. I just don't even know where to start. First off, get DNA tests on all your kids. If she's lied and cheated prior to marriage, there's a chance she's done it since. And you're under no obligation to believe a word she says. Once you've established paternity, then you can worry about your next move. She's lying about the recent texts being a joke. You know it. I think it's reasonable to assume they've been cheating throughout your marriage. Since she created this mess, it's her job to prove she's been a faithful wife. She should be crying, begging, doing backflips to convince you she's been faithful. Even offering to take a polygraph test. Otherwise, she's guilty. For me, cheating is a strict boundary even if it's emotionally cheating. I would file for divorce ASAP and do a DNA test to my kids. The trust is broken.